All right, so here we are.
Great afternoon, everyone.
Chris, it's great to see you again. My God.
Absolutely.
Thank God. Tim, I know for quite some time we've been back and forth. I know Tim a very long time. Tim's in one of my groups. I mean, since I started them for the last 5 or 6 years, or maybe more when I was with my other partner. But Tim's really got a great product, Chris. And the reason why I brought him in here is for you to engage, because you really know the business real good. So, I mean, and I want to talk about what you do, okay, and what Chris does, and maybe find a merge there to provide a solution to dealers. Let me just say this. I'm going to have you guys take over. The reason I'm always concerned about finding the right solution for a dealer, because in 08 and 09, when a dealer went out of business, you're talking the average dealer across America has 150 employees, right? You're talking about the local economy. 30 years ago, it was different. You didn't have Amazon. There's no local economy anymore.
Totally different.
And my partners had 2 catering halls, okay? And the problem with that is when the local economy is no good, I don't do any business in other industries that I'm involved in. So that being said, I want you guys to engage. And Tim, tell them about data Experian with that thing about data select and all that. And tell the audience the solution you have that's unbelievable.
Tim, real quick, before you jump in, I just want to let everyone know that we are back. Auto Dealer News. This is Game Face Monday, right? This is Monday, and a lot of us have been displaced, and we're not where we thought was what at one point was normal. We are working remotely and doing what we have to do to adapt the time. So with that, I bring you Tim Danker, who is the director of at Ideal Direct Ad Group, and he has a tremendous amount of experience in this subprime space, generating leads via mail specifically. So I'll let Tim kind of explain what he offers and what his company is about.
Well, we've been working with dealers since the company started. The company's been in business for 15 years, and prior to that, me and the 2 owners were together at another company. So we decided they went out on their own, and I followed 5 years later, built sales floors, did all kinds of things. So I've been involved with it from the start up. Recently, I've missed talking to dealers. I was in some roles where I was in management and stuff like that, and I actually went back to working with dealers because loved it. My dad was a car dealer growing up, and it's kind of in my blood. But the best product we're selling right now is something that never made sense to me is we do these credit offers for credit scored mail, and people would come in and not be matching up near what we mailed to, because we bought third-party data through list providers that was really marketed for 3 to 6 months, I think. We were told, all the direct mail companies were told it's updated monthly, but there's just no way because of the flux in the score. So I actually approached a guy from Experian at NADA, years ago, and I always wanted to buy it directly. So over the years, we've come up with a way now where dealerships can join Experian and do the firm offer of credit that they need on this data. So when you use credit scores, you have to do a firm offer of credit to the people. That's the only way you get access to the information that we use. Mm-hmm. For years, third-party list providers and other list providers were using fictitious banks that don't fund loans. They'd say, you've been offered, you're pre-approved for a loan through Direct Lending Source or through some other thing, and it's not a real bank that funds loans. Well, this way, the firm offer of credit is coming directly from the dealership. If we get a big group, we only have to there's some paperwork involved, obviously, for all the legal stuff, but once it's done, it's done. And there's affiliate addendums where if there's 20 stores, it covers all of them. So it's really worked well, and the data's been much more accurate because it's updated every 3 weeks. And it's what they call FICA 2. I can get FICA 8, but then it would cost about the same amount as it costs to run a bureau. So can't charge $6 per mailer or even $4 per mailer to get it that accurate. But the FICA 2 data works great, and we've had so much success just recently mailing to a criteria with high interest. And, I would talk to dealers individually about exactly what we're doing. But research has shown that everybody on this list in a 1.5-year window will purchase a car, 100%. And to me, it's just a hotbed. I've had for over a year, dealers have been mailing to it monthly, and they're constantly selling, 10, 20, as many as 30 a month. But the 3-month window, after we've done some research with names, is showing that it's selling a lot more cars. But as we discussed, after the month, somebody comes in the next month with it, it kind of goes without, getting credit for it. But it's a great product, and it's working. Working.
So, look, what I have to say about that data, whether it's, a month old, 2 months old, or 2 weeks, I think that we can be sure that in the next couple of months, that data is probably going to be pretty similar, with the exception of them acquiring maybe a new loan. So if they have bad credit today, they're going to have bad credit in 2 months. So
Exactly.
I think we had this conversation prior to actually going live, and we talked about people looking at mail per se on their own time. So they might get a piece of mail today, but might not open it for 30 days, right? Because it's a matter of importance. Like, I'm opening up my car payments, my credit card bills, my notice of toll violations here and there when my Easy Pass is not registered. But for the most part, that other junk mail, as we call it, kind of sits on the side. And when a bulb goes off in my head that I need something, boom, oh yeah, I remember getting this. Let me pick up that piece of mail and see what I can do with this. So, if I were a dealer, right, and I am, and I have been, I'm not so much concerned. Give me that data. I'm in the credit repair space as well. So, and I know I could help someone repair or remove negative items off their credit and wind up getting them back in 6 months or a year and 2 years as a client, because they went back into that same rabbit hole of bad credit. Unfortunately we're creatures of habit, so I wouldn't be so concerned as a dealer of that data being so accurate.
And I couldn't agree more. And there's, if you've got good BDC and good customers that follow up, which my clients, I have stores that don't, and I have stores that do. Because if these people come in the door today and they have a job and they can't get in a car, you don't have the right car, you don't have the right bank. But 2 months from now, it's a different story. Right. If you stay in touch with them, you got to get them back into purchase when they can. But everybody else is after them too. Your quote about people, keeping bad credit is another reason that bankruptcy lists. I've mailed to bankruptcies that happened 4 or 5 years ago because people tend to keep bad credit. So we'll set up letters where if you've had a bankruptcy in the past and they bought a car 4 years ago and now it's ready to turn over, there they go, worked again. So it's just hitting people at the right time.
Yeah, it's to your point with credit, I found even 2 and 3 months, 6 months after someone has purchased a vehicle at a higher interest rate, mailing them that, hey, here's your interest, here's what it could be, driving that traffic back to the store, maybe their credit score did move 30 basis points. And you and I both know 30 basis point can mean the difference between a 15% interest rate and a 3.9 subvented factory interest rate, right? So you have that 9% or 10% spread in interest that can absorb negative equity. So, where most dealers or most salespeople will get frustrated at the point that customer got a car just 3 months ago or 6 months ago, they're looking at things the wrong way. Maybe their credit has improved. They qualify for better rates. They qualify for a better advance. Maybe they have $1,500, $2,000 to put down, and there's a car deal there. So I don't buy into the low percentage, the low return. There are deals there. To your point, if you have a good BDC, you train your staff, you're able to convert those things and make deals out of them. And that's just been my background through Special Fi. Look, there's an opportunity, there's a deal with every opportunity, right? Oh, yeah. You have to be willing to explore those options. So let me ask you this: what do you where have you found your niche, your greatest return?
The last couple of years has been mail that we designed, and I set this up to look like the dealer sat down and wrote it out to you. We can use handwritten fonts now with laser technology.
I love it.
Print.
I love it.
It looks like
personalized.
It looks just like somebody wrote it.
Right.
And it comes off. There is companies out there now that have millions of people sitting down actually writing hand notes, but it ups the price, and everybody wants to pay a certain amount. And this, what I call a handwritten worksheet or a dealer worksheet, and with the data we can get through Experian with rate, and we can hard code in a lower rate, and literally show them on the mailer how much money they're going to save. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's all handwritten out like the F&I guy wrote it. And I've had the best luck with it, and that's the one that people are 3 months later picking up the phone and calling about it, because maybe they even knew when they opened it 3 months ago they couldn't buy. Well, now they can. And you're saying about that lovely term, negative equity. That's a problem, but it's not. It's just a part of the beast, I guess I would call it. But dealerships that understand it, there's rebates that can be buried into, and all the things you just said that make a huge difference. Like stores that have good rebate programs, this most of your subprime mail moves used cars. This will move new cars in a lot of areas because they can bury the negative equity in a brand new car. Hyundai and Kia dealers have had real good success with it.
Mm-hmm. So what I'm finding, and I don't know if your ear is to the street with dealers, but I'm finding the factory banks are tightening up a bit, but these subprime lenders seem to be very, very loose. And I'll give you a perfect example. Santander right now, I'm submitting applications, and it seems like everything is coming back with just an assignment fee of $149, no real big, VIG, as well as Capital One. Whereas, let's say Honda or Toyota or Hyundai seem to be very, very tight on their lending. What do you have any opinions on that? What?
I think this is a question I just asked a dealer last week, because I'm still talking to some people, but mm-hmm. Everybody that I do business with is they're waiting to find out what's going to happen here, when they can even open in some areas. But I asked one of my special finance guys what he thinks is going to happen. He has no clue, and nobody does, because I think it might get more aggressive, to get people back out after this pandemic's over. I mean, but I'm in California. They're not even talking an opening date. And I just saw on the news this morning where, a big part of the center of the country is May 31st or April 31st are going to open, or May 1st. But out here, they haven't even talked about it. And, that's a little scary. We do huge business here. And then we have 4 reps that call all over the country, and I'm one of them. But that's something that we're gonna have to start talking about, because we can't even go into our office, but we can work from home. So everybody's kind of on hold. But I think there's, as far as banks go, I've worked with banks like Prestige, Tidewater for open bankruptcies. They have that niche of an open 7, so we'll be able to all open bankruptcies and stuff like that. But if you got a bank I actually think if there's a bank out there with a certain criteria they want to mail to, we can design something for them. Mm-hmm.
I have a store, right? It's out in Long Island. He's the only one that has the banking license. So basically he says this: if they're breathing, they're driving, as long as they meet his criteria. With tax, title, and license, he's got to be at 20% down. Okay, automatically you get delivered. No matter if you had a repo or whatever, and it's not CAC, it's his own money, right? Mm-hmm. So that being said, that's a good store for that. And I want to talk to you about something else. Have you ever tried these companies out there in Florida's big on that, and also Texas, because those are the 2 marketplaces that I have, right? Oh, Chris, by the way, forgot to tell you, I'm moving to Florida come August. Come the middle of August, beginning September. because I have a lot of dealerships out there. So I'll be leaving in the winter and coming back and forth here in the summer.
You're going to be a snowbird.
Yeah, so I like. I'm getting old already. I'm not a young guy anymore. I'm getting very old. So
nobody's young anymore.
Right. So Tim, I feel like this is done. Of like leave it to the new kids. You know what I'm saying? So, but that being said, the special finance companies out there like Second Chance Finance in Texas, that's big. That's really big. I get subprime leads too, but what we do is we nurture it's only online. It's only on social media. We nurture the lead. I tell you what, I throw 80% of them out when it comes to special finance because we send an automated email and someone unsubscribe. I never even applied. You don't even know the kind of stuff I get. Stop sending me emails. You know what I mean? I only send one out. Because I think a lot of people don't even go online and fill it out based on what I'm doing now. I see that I throw 50% of new car leads away. And what people are saying to me, I never even asked for any information. So I don't know if it could be a bot. I don't know what it is. But, that's what the problem is. And that's why Cars Guru and all these companies had this problem. But your special finance program is really good. And it's really good with a guy like Chris Gonzalez because the thing is, he can have a strategic partnership with your company and get those people that don't get approved, help them fix their credit, and then they'll get approved.
Absolutely.
So that's that's why I wanted to make this. Chris brings a lot of things to the table here in my company, okay? Chris is a very great motivator. He knows what he's doing, okay? And he's got an entrepreneurial brain, He's not just, he really takes the risk and entrepreneur. There's a lot of car guys out there that say,
Richie, let me say this, Richie. So the reason, there's two reasons why I got into the credit repair space. Number one was I got killed in 2008, the recession of 2008. I mean, I took out, I just actually documented this the other day and it's going to come out, but I'm going to share it here. So I spent, before I was 30 years old, I spent $750,000 in just interest, acquiring cars, property, credit card, debt. Come 2008, when the shit hit the fan, excuse my language, right? Everything. Well, it's not the internet. It's just, look, people were over leveraged and it just dropped, and fear, like right now, made it worse. Right. And that's why it's so important to keep a positive mindset. But number one was my credit went to shit and I had to file bankruptcy. Before I can complete my bankruptcy filing, I had to do credit counseling. Right. And what I learned through credit counseling really, really got my wheels turned. I said, man, the neighborhood that I grew up in and in the family that I had, I didn't get this sort of education. How do I begin to educate more people so they don't fall into the rabbit holes that I fell in through when it comes to credit? So I started to think about that. The second thing was being in finance for 13 years at the time. I was basically dealing with people and being bearer of bad news. So people would come in, they would lease a car or purchase a car, and I would have to be the bearer of, hey, look, you weren't approved for the original terms. Here's what you approved for. Here's why, and here's what you can do to maybe fix your situation moving forward or down the road, right? So I found myself explaining these things, and I would watch how people would go from wanting their dream car to settling for what they could afford. And the truth is, these people really couldn't afford these cars at these payments, at these interest rates. So
happens all the time.
Happens all the time. So the second part of it, I said, there are tons of leads coming into dealerships across the country every single day that they have to turn away because of bad credit, because they don't have the resources, because they don't have the lending sources, because they don't have the mental capacity to structure that deal properly, find the right car, and sell that to the lender at the right terms. So I started to think about, hey, look, if I started a credit repair agency, I won't only help the public, but I could help dealers find the solution for those bad credit applicants. And it was more like a strategy. Hey, you couldn't sell them a car today, but if we could help them remove negative items that are being reported on their credit bureaus, could we sell them a car in 2-3 months? If the answer is yes, put them into a pipeline, send me those customers, let me help you build a portfolio of bad credit clients. Let's get that credit back up to where it should be. Let me then deliver that lead back to you where you can now sell them a car. And it started to work amazing. So now instead of advertising for leads and Google AdWords and using social platforms, I was able to just leverage stores who had bad credit leads, help them fix them and send them back to you so you can now sell them a car and work with them. And it just works. So those are my two reasons for entering the space: my own personal experience with credit, and being in the environment of auto finance. I saw the opportunity to take these customers, put them in a pipeline, rebuild their credit, and then sell them a car down the road. And the reason I bring this up is not to impress anyone in any way, but to more so impress upon you the importance of maybe your target audience are finance managers. And I say this because everyone's job and role has to change right now. If you're a dealer or an employee of a dealership that thinks come May 30th, May 15th, or whatever the projected date is, you're just going to open your door and do business the way you did, you were sadly mistaken.
And I'm glad you brought that up. You know, Chris, I'm glad you brought that up, because your company right now has an opportunity bigger than any company that there is in the marketplace. You know why? Because it's going to start happening where customers are going to be buying cars online. Customers are not going to be going into the showroom. So the special finance customers need to get their credit fixed, okay, for this process.
Absolutely.
Okay, for example, Paragon is doing it. Let me tell you something. The Jim Ellis group, my friend Brandon that's there, let me tell you something. They've been doing it for quite some time now. Okay, and there are companies that are actually have the solution for dealers to sell cars online. So Chris Gonzalez, his product that he's got, and I'm announcing it here, that's the product that Mr. Dealer, you got to reach out to Chris right now. Chris, matter of fact, put your number on there. Reach out to Chris right now, because you know what?
917-974-0704.
If you hire Chris Gonzalez right now, you got to think that he can fix and repair the credit. Chris, let me ask you a question. If I turn you on to a customer, okay, and I can't get him a car, I can't deliver him a car because of his credit, how long would it take your company to turn that customer into a viable consumer?
I'm going to say this, right, and I'll go on record. If I can't get your results in 60 days, there's nothing that could be done. I refund clients that I can't help fix certain items, right? But on average, our clients see 10.2 negative items removed over a 4-month period. But you and I both know if we can just tweak the score just a bit, and results can come in as soon as 30 days. If we can tweak the score just a bit, that's a difference between an 80% call and a 110% call. There's a 30% swing in approvals by improving its credit score just a little bit. So results are endless. I can guarantee anyone who doesn't make an effort to fix their credit, they will be in the same situation come 2-3-4 months. You know, they got to be crazy not to start to do something. And I'll say one more thing. What took me 4 years, we can accomplish in 4 months.
And here's the beauty thing, right? Special finance will always exist and all that. But now you're increasing the percentage of that customer. And the customer today, when they fix their credit, right, they go to Credit Karma and monitor it. So they can hire a guy like Chris, fix his credit. Mr. Dealer, you need to get ready for what's going to happen, because like 9/11 changed our life, okay? Americans, what happens with Americans is it changes the life, all right? It changes the way we think, Okay, that's it. We put a process. And listen, I'm a Cuban American, right? In Cuba, it happened. The Cuban Americans came here and we fixed it. That's why we're really, really like into politics and all that. I'm not. I'm not into politics, but my parents are, my father, my brothers, and all that. But let me tell you something. This is changing the way of life. So if Mr. Dealer, Chris is right, if you think you're going to go on, so this program, Automotive Dealer News, is about giving the dealer the solution, because it drives me crazy when the local economy is taking a hit. In my town, Port Jefferson, I went by Main Street. The cigar places are closed. Every business is closed. Yesterday, I wanted a Starbucks coffee and it's closed. Bacon, it's closed.
I'll bring you one, Richie. Mine is open.
You know what? I'm going to tell you something. The local economy is really going to hurt a lot. And a solution like Chris Gonzalez and like Tim, these solutions are real. Now, both of you guys have a solution to show the dealership, Mr. Dealer. You know, it bothers me when a dealer doesn't know marketing and he spends all this money and he doesn't get any results, right? Why does it bother me? Because I know that his people are hurting. His salespeople, his fixed ops, his office staff, everybody's hurting. Okay, so that's why I'm always developing new solutions to better enhance a dealership. I've been in the car business. I'm 19 years old, right? The last thing I want is to see my industry hurt the way it's gonna hurt. And I see the writing on the wall. Listen to me. The writing's on the wall. Get online and repair the credit, because now you got a better delivery ratio. Okay, so with this solution, every dealer across the country in America should be calling Chris right now. Why? Let me tell you what the difference between his credit solution is and anybody else's. He comes from the automotive space, so he knows how to look at a credit bureau, what's going to make it viable. There's thousands of credit companies out there, but he's got the experience of the data. He's got the experience of the automotive sector, and he's got the experience how to fix the credit, so he makes it just right to get it done. Now, what do you think about that, Chris?
I mean, I think it's amazing, and I didn't want this to be about me, but I appreciate everything you're saying, and you're 100% right. And I'll tell you one other difference, which is super, super important. And I'm going to mention a name like Lexington Law, right? Because that seems to be the big company in the credit repair or credit building space, right? The difference is Lexington Law has a business model called recurring revenue, right? And I'm making it like as dumb as I possibly can for the average person to understand what I'm trying to say. Their goal is to keep someone on the juice, like give them just enough so they have to pay forever, right? So what they're doing is they're sending out disputes to 1 to 2 items per credit bureau, right? What happens if a customer has 30 items on their credit bureau that are negatively affecting them? They have 15 inquiries that were put by their local dealership. They have 2 collection accounts, 1 charge off, a medical bill. They have a student loan, some late payments, right? You have 30 items on each bureau. You have a total of 90 items, and they're only sending 1 to 2 disputes per month. Now, what happens in 1 or 2 months when that dispute comes back and it's now verified? There's now a second round that has to go out, right? So these people are hooked on these programs for 1, 2, 3, 4 years, forever, until they finally give up and say, you know what, this is just not working for me. My strategy is to really get that customer back to the dealer or a funding company or a mortgage broker as quickly as I possibly can. Why? The goal is to get them into that loan. It's to supply my service, and my service was designed for dealerships, right? But I go back to what took me 4 years to do for myself. We can do in 4 months. And I didn't want this to be about credit repair, but I'm going to take it back to the dealership. Roles have to change. Finance managers have to become the new retention people. they have to become the new special finance department that call leads, get people in, or communicate over the phone. They have to be willing to sell their products and services over the phone, just like Amazon. You know, I go to buy something on Amazon, I'm being upsold every step of the way. Why aren't our finance managers doing it? You know, and the biggest issue I see happening in our industry right now is dealers are filing for these PPP loans, these payroll protection loans. And what's going to happen is they're going to have 8 weeks to pay this money back. And I'm not predicting this. I'm promising you, your business is going to take some time to get ramped back up to what it was. These loans are based upon volume and production prior to this pandemic. So if you have a store that was selling 200 cars, for the next 3 months, they might sell 100, 150. But if their loan is based upon income generated and payroll made prior to the pandemic, these loans are going to not become forgivable. In 8 weeks, these dealerships are going to be out of money again and in trouble. So they're taking debt against debt, which is a bad recipe. So if you're closed right now, right, and I hope there are dealers on this right now. If you're closed, you're a dealership, you own a store, you're a general manager, you're a general salesman, you're in any position where you can influence what you do next, you need to get your staff engaged. You need to get on a Zoom call. You need to fire them up. You need to generate leads. You need to start routing phone calls, email leads, text message to these people. Have them begin to work remotely. Now's the time to get your best salespeople with leads, because there's business out there that you're missing, and you don't have to run the risk of putting them in harm by sending them to your store to have them spend hours there with the hopes that someone walks in. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen now, and it's not going to happen in the near future. So what was going to happen in 3 to 5 years just got pushed up. It's happening right now. You know, Amazon showed that you don't need to go to big box stores anymore. Uber and Lyft showed that you don't have to be a taxi cab and buy a medallion for $1 million. Like Cash App and Zelle are showing you don't even have to have a bank anymore. Like, what else do we need, guys? We don't need showrooms. What we need is qualified people who are willing to take themselves to the next level, get on the phone, old school prospect, internet leads, text message, build a process around it, and work remotely.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because what Tim offers, okay, so I'm a dealership. Now I buy from Tim, say, Tim, you know what? I want 100 leads from you. Example, right? Out of those 100 leads, special finance, if I'm lucky, I deliver 10 to 12%. If I'm lucky. What about the other people that I can't deliver? Now Tim says, you know what, Mr. Dealer? I tell you what, those leads that you didn't deliver, let me turn this on to one of my strategic partner that's going to repair it a little bit, right? Now what happens, right? Now Chris fixes their credit, right? Now those customers are loyal to that dealership. Chris dumps it in the dashboard. Okay, this customer is ready. Bang, Tim, your business has just increased.
Richie,
right?
you have no idea. Let me just tell you one thing, you know, so these people, you help them a little, you help them a lot. The bottom line is you help them, and I hate to say this openly, but they take ownership of me. They call me for everything.
Right.
Any question they have, and I'm not saying me, my company, any question they have that is credit related, they are, what should I do? When should I refinance? When should I apply for a new loan? How should I get a credit card? Which credit card should I apply for? You have no idea the service that's being done, the relationship that's being built. And that's the foundation of not just our business, every relationship. You got to build trust and value and establish a lifelong relationship. That's the way you stay in business. That's the way you overcome these obstacles, these pandemics, these situations, because trust me, this is not the first time we're in a situation like this, and it's not going to be the last time we're in it. So the question is, how much better off are you going to be? How much better off are you going to come out of this situation than what you went in? That's the question I have for the world.
And let me tell you something, special finance, when you deliver special finance leads, Doug the Cadillac man, good friend of mine. He delivers special finance leads. You know why? When you deliver a special finance leads, you're going to get more referrals than you can ever imagine on new cars with just regular credit. Do you know why? Because they're going to refer their friends. Listen, this guy took care of me. He gave me a great deal, and I have bad credit. If not, I wouldn't be driving. I'd be taking the bus. I got news for you. When you do it like that, your referral business, your retention is going to go haywire. Okay? So subprime is a really special division in the automotive sector. That's why I bought Tim, because
That's where the money is.
Bottom line, it'll save your business. It will.
Where the money is.
I've seen Tim's solution work. Not only that he's telling me about it, I've seen it work in different dealerships. Okay, he does a great job with his solution. He's always on my special finance group, and he's always promoting stuff. Let me tell you something. He's amazing. What the solution they came up with, and it's through Experian now, because it was years ago, trigger leads, right? I don't know if anybody remembers Desert Storm. Desert Storm was a really bad time in the car business. Let me tell you. Trigger leads, you used to sell cars like candy bars, because everybody is in the market that's challenged credit because they can't get it. Okay, and that's when the trigger leads were really rocking. That's another era that was pretty bad with that Desert Storm, bad recession. So right now, Mr. Dealer, turn your dealership around. Start getting special finance leads from Tim. Then the ones that you can't deliver, get on the phone right now. Call me right now, Mr. Dealer. I'll put Tim's number and Chris's number, and I'll give you an introduction. I want to do, Chris, a round table for dealerships. I had it done when Automotive Dealer News started. I had El Patron there. I had Stan Shear. And I had a bunch of guys before this round table fix-ups came. I did the first one, right? It was a BDC. I want to do a round table.
Let's do a virtual one. We can't wait.
Right. I want to do a round table on my live or on Zoom with dealers, reaching out to them, bring them on so they see the solution. Tim's got the solution for the special finance. You have the solution to fix it. You're going to deliver 8 to 10% special finance, okay? Now, what happens to the other ones? You're just going to forget about them? No, those are leads. Give them to Chris Gonzalez. Have them work them. And now that customer is with you forever, Mr. Dealer. You talk about retention. When you help a customer that can't get anything, you're doing wants, not needs.
Yeah,
they really need it.
And the retention. I mean, look, if I take this back to my days of being in F&I and even a salesperson. That customer with challenge credit that you sell a car to, the retention is through the roof, and they still have the mentality as a subprime customer. So they're not busting your chops. They're the easiest customers to deal with. You treat them right, you service them, they'll buy for you forever.
So you're 100% correct.
No,
and right now, with the customer, you have a profit center with meeting Chris Gonzalez and Tim together combined. You have a retention program, okay, and you have a tremendous referral program. Because I have bad credit, I go to ABC Motors, right? I go to ABC Motors. I can't get done. They put Chris on the case, okay? Chris gets me done. Guess what? I go and pick up a car. I'm going to tell all my friends that know my situation, listen, this dealership got me the car. This guy repaired my credit. Oh my God, you're going to stop. So you got a three-pronged process here. With these two guys, Mr. Dealer, trainers, everybody, bring them in now. Because you know what? If I'm a dealer, you two guys I'm bringing in. End of story.
I actually had a dealership in Texas a few years ago that the guys were together with bankruptcy attorneys, and they did credit repair like you're talking about. And they were in a store. And we literally mailed to people that we knew couldn't buy. Way low scores, 400s, tons of debt. all the stuff that you could get on a credit file, and they knew they couldn't buy. When they get into the store, if they might have a car, some of them they did sell cars to, but people got referred to bankruptcy attorneys to go file bankruptcy, come back, buy a car, or get your credit repaired and work them. It's very similar to what you're talking about. And they did it until the guys got so rich, I don't know what they're doing now, but they made a lot of money over about a 3-year period. It's crazy, But, we can mail to those people that, are really rough, that couldn't buy, but then there's that opportunity to fix their credit and get those people into cars also.
Tim, you know what it goes back to? Look, it goes back to adapting, right? And not reverting. Don't revert back to the old ways. You have to adapt. You have to innovate to escalate, right? Like you have to simply do different things. Like in the past, you didn't have to worry about these things. Well, you know what? Now you gotta focus on them, not worry about them. You gotta focus on them, right? What is your strategy to build your retention? It's like a follow process in BDC, right? So every customer has a 90-day cycle until they buy, right? Why is it, so the deal goes into special finance. They can't get the deal hung. They can't get the customer approved. They can't get them into a car. What happens to them? They mark them dead. Can't find them. When do they come back? You know when they come back? When you mail to them again in 6 months.
Exactly.
In a year. But where is your strategy to get that customer back? Why don't you tag that customer in your system, refer it to someone? It doesn't have to be me, right? But anyone. What is your strategy? What is your strategy? I'm not selling my services, but my site is apexcreditfix.com, by the way, right? For those of you who want to know. But what is your strategy, right? You got to focus on new ways because it's not going to go. It should not go back to what it was.
I couldn't agree more.
You're terminal, and you're only months away from being out of business. And it's sad to say, right? The average dealership employs 150 people. 150 people. That's 150 families that are being supported by your dealership. Mm-hmm. What are you doing to maintain them? What are you doing to keep them employed? What are you doing what are you doing? What are you doing with them? What is your strategy? And it's not, there is right now an overnight fix. It's change, right? You got to fire.
You have good people. There's a lot of salesmen on lots that are there to just smoke cigarettes, and I've seen it. You got to work. You got to work leads. You got to.
The beauty about that, Tim. Think about this for a second, right? We all have those salespeople, those managers, those employees that you employed because they've been there, right? Mm-hmm. Now's your opportunity to clean house, keep the best of the best. Right? A guy who sold 10, 15 cars doing manual labor, meaning the entire process, showing the car, delivering the car, following up with the customer with a good automated process, with a good process in place, can easily go up to 25, 30 cars. You can double that salesperson's production. And if I ask the dealer, would you rather put your customer, your next prospect in front of your best salesperson or with the green pea or the guy or the gal who's been there, who's a system breaker? What would you rather do? I'd rather put them in front of my best people.
Exactly.
And create that process, create that strategy. It's really that simple, right? It's an overnight success. It's called change. Mm-hmm. And I want to drive that home. Like overnight success, it's called change. You have to adapt and do different things. Richie, thank you for putting my phone number in the comment there, 917-974-0704. What I would like to do is I'd like to ask the viewers, because we got quite a few people on here right now, just comment where you're from, where you're located. Please put in the comment section. We'd like to know where you're from. Give you a few shout outs. I saw Jason on here earlier. Next sale, another thing that you should be implementing into your strategy, into your business, is his app. No better time now than to use and leverage social platforms. Look, those of you who are out of work, you have nothing better to do but to scroll on your feed. Why don't you use your app to make video, pictures, testimonials, referrals, right, for other things? You got to adapt to the change here. We also have Dominic. Dominic, thank you so much for joining. Thank you.
And the other thing is that I want to talk about is one thing, Chris, with your program, right? That is really, really good. What is it that a person I can sell a car, I cannot sell a car, give it to you, and in 60 days you turn them around, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, do you have any technology? Like if I give you ABC Motors, let's say I give you a Florida store, right?
Yep.
And here's the Florida store, fix their credit. Do you have a dashboard or something so when they become available?
So here's the deal. I have a consumer-faced portal and I have an affiliate portal, right? So that dealership will get an affiliate portal. So ABC Motors will have their own portal. They'll put their client's information in there, first name, last name, phone number, email address. Simple. My team will reach out to them, get them onboarded, put them in the process, and you'll be able to, we can communicate with you via affiliate portal, or you can go in there at any given time and see what customers, where their credit scores are. And our dashboard will show what their credit score was when it came in, what it is in the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. So you could see that fluctuation in scores. So if they're a 590 and you need them to be at a 610, you see they get to a 610, boom, reach out to them and say, hey, John, we see your credit is back up to a 610. We'd like to explore the options of getting you into that car you were looking for. Or we'd like to explore the options of perhaps getting you into a refinance. Whatever you want to set up your process, my team can facilitate. I'll facilitate, organize, and get them to do just that for you. But the bottom line is, it can't be solely for the sake of selling a car. My question to dealers, salespeople, vendors, do you want to help your clients? If the answer is yes, you have to provide a solution for them, right?
And the objection is this, right? I'm a dealer, right? So I'm going to give you my data. I'm going to give the lead I bought, right? I'm sure that you have a contract that data belongs to them, and once it's fixed, it's them. You're not going to prospect that.
Yeah, we do not sell data to anyone.
Oh, you can't do that.
That is your proprietary.
Because the dealer's going to have that objection. Wait a minute, but then when you fix their credit, you can become a lead gen and give it to another dealership, right? So you have to sign some paperwork.
Yes, that's true. But why would I jeopardize my reputation and my relationship?
You know these dealers, right? They don't even trust themselves.
It's not a sure
thing. You walk to the bathroom, they don't even trust you.
I'm in this game 23 years. I didn't get to where I was by doing the wrong thing. I did it for my clients. I did it for the stores I worked at. I can, to this day, walk into any dealership I've ever worked, and it's only been 4, by the way. That's my reputation. Any 4 of those dealerships and get a job tomorrow. I never left on bad terms. I never left a bad taste in anyone's mouth. If I left, I went to improve myself, progress my career, and that is simply understandable.
So you were just in finance or just special finance the time you're in stores?
You want the whole ball of wax? So
sure.
So I was in the automotive industry for 21 years. I was in retail. I created a consulting company for auto dealers called Apex Advising.
Okay.
That's when I created the credit repair company, finance manager in 90 days. I also teach finance managers, salespeople, or dealership staff. I teach them how to progress their career and become finance managers. I teach them the entire process from A to Z. I mean, from the moment they're handed a folder to becoming a finance director. And that's a very, very long process. Mm-hmm. I teach menu building, menu selling, upselling, closing, funding, compliance, you name it, I teach it. I also teach anyone who comes through my training the necessary steps to position themselves for consideration. And the reason I did that is when I was researching finance schools, I found that they were charging upwards of $8,000 to $12,000. And I said to myself, what salesperson can afford to spend $8,000 to $12,000 to gain the knowledge and experience in order to progress their career? I said, maybe 1% if you're lucky. So what they had to do was they had to rely on their dealerships to send them to school. And what dealership wants to make an $8,000 to $12,000 investment, send a salesperson to F&I school with the potential of that salesperson becoming a finance manager, and then they leave their organization? So dealerships simply won't spring for it. So the pool is very small. I charged $997. I couldn't make it any cheaper. If I gave it away for free, people wouldn't value it. They wouldn't stick with it. And my position rate, right? The ability to secure positions for these people would be very, very low. I would get a lot of people enrolled, and I would turn out very few finance managers. So I said, salespeople, dealership staff have to have skin in the game. The cheapest I can make it is $997. But for $997, they get an hour of coaching. They get a complete A to Z finance course that teaches them every ins and out, everything I just described. I help them rewrite their resume. I help them get interviews. I help them put themselves in front of stores for consideration. I tell you this, I start with the store they're in, and if you ask anyone who is looking to become a manager of any sort within a dealership, they're always passed up because someone knows someone who promotes someone, right? Yep. And the only way to break that cycle and break that mold is to give someone the knowledge and experience for them to present themselves as an authority in that position. I've been selling cars for XYZ time. I've been providing excellent customer satisfaction. I know the do's and the don'ts. I know what I don't like as a salesperson when my deal goes to finance. Here are some of the things I would change if I were in that position. And I'm telling you, I've turned out some of the best finance managers in the industry that value the number one thing, and that is the consumer. You have to respect your consumer. That is where you eat. That is what's going to keep you in business. That's how you're going to survive. If you can't focus on that number one point, you're just another guy, right? Yep. And I'm going to say one last thing before I turn it back over to you guys, because I can sometimes be long-winded. But I had someone reach out to me yesterday regarding credit repair, and he wanted to know if this would be a space he should get into because he's worried about competition. I said to him, listen, if you're worried about competition and you're worried about if you're going to be successful, he happened to be a finance manager, he was laid off. You're worried about competition and you're worried about competition, right? You're doing it for the wrong reasons. You got to do it because you want to help change some lives. If you do it for that reason, there is no competition. And that's it. I'll leave you there. I'm sorry to be long.
Well, here's what the thing is, guys. I want to thank you all for being here. Come 2:00, I got to go on the Zoom, unfortunately. But listen, I want you guys to engage. And Chris, the next show and all that, I want to bring in another guy that I know that does the same thing Tim does, has some sort of a solution for that, but more with not subprime so much, more like in between subprime and prime, right? Mm-hmm. Where Tim's got a great product. But this is a solution I want to give to the dealers. And you are great at it. You're a professional at this, and you know how to structure a lead. You know how to structure a deal. So when you look at their dealer track and see that they're putting in the wrong cars in there, you'll also know, listen, it wasn't the creditors. This is what you guys did, right? So I've done that for Cars Direct a lot. I've been on the road with Cars Direct, and they send me to different stores, and I do the assessment. And when you go into dealer track, you see it's wrong, I mean, when you put somebody, a LTV at 140% with a 550 score, good night. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So thanks a lot for being here, Tim. It's a pleasure. Let's talk.
Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure. You have my number. Send me a message so I have yours. And however I could help you in any way, maybe as a back end for your stores, anyone you're signing up, you can.
Yeah, well, I'll give you a call because we used to actually employ a person like you that actually worked in our office, came from a dealership and special finance, helping do exactly what you do with people that can't get done. You got to chase them, help them with the credit repair. That's even a whole part of this that, you know, if you could sell 10 cars to people that got turned down a month down the road, you know, 10 more cars from
25.
You know,
25.
Oh my God. It's a whole nother gold mine.
Absolutely.
It's a whole nother gold mine. So cool.
All right,
Keep in
guys.
touch.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Richie. Have a great day. Nice meeting you.
Bye-bye.
Great. Thank you.
Take care.